I'm like 95% sure that the AGM-65 Maverick is just a complete scandal in War Thunder, and it just genuinely pisses me off. Before we dive into this video, I'd appreciate it if you guys hit the like button and subscribe. Only 11% of my current viewers are subscribed, and if we're going to have any chance at hitting 10k by the end of the year, we need to get those numbers up. So the AGM-65, rather it be the A variant, the B variant, the D variant, the G, the H, the F, the E, you guys you get the idea. There's a lot of Maverick variants, and they're a backbone for so many different nations for CAS, especially the United States. And they're just terrible. They're just bad. And we're going to kind of get into that because it's annoying and it feels like a scandal. It really just does. Because when you think of air-to-ground missiles, you obviously think of the Maverick. Then you think of, like, what? The KH-38, which is a phenomenal missile. The KH-29, which is still a really good missile, depending on the variant. And even the early variants are good. So what the issue with the Maverick is a few things. So one, the first thing I want to go over is inconsistent armor interaction. There are, even the AGM-65G, which is supposed to be the SAP-HE warhead, and it's supposed to be, like, the best Maverick, can still absorb non-damage or just get, reflected by reactive armor and structural parts that just shouldn't happen like that in real life, and it just shouldn't happen in general. And then there's just the weird seeker logic that has just never been fixed and has been in the game for literally forever. The IR Seeker and the TV Seeker can be super finicky. It can be prone to breaking locks or snapping into random environmental objects like bushes or dirt. And that is so inertly frustrating, and this is a big reason why I literally always carry a targeting pod on planes that can. And I know some people have been like, oh, you're losing a weapon slot. I genuinely don't care. If I can bring a targeting pod for Mavericks, I always will 10 out of 10 times. And then there's just the inadequate overpressure and damage. Despite having massive explosive mass and TNT equivalents, Mavericks frequently result in non-fatal critical hits rather than reliable one-shot kills. And again, I kind of understand why the Mavericks this way just a little bit. You find the AGM-65A at like 9.7, 10.0, 10.3, and then you find things like the AGM-65B on the A10s at 10.3. You find those on even things like the F-16A, which is at 12.0 in ground battles. And then you get into things like the AGM-65G, or the E's, and those are essentially very, very similar warhead-wise. The difference is the E is a laser-guided variant. You have to have laser lock at all times. And honestly, that kind of just takes away the whole purpose of having the Maverick. The Maverick's supposed to be fire and forget, and you can't really fire and forget when your missile has should result in basically being hit with a bus, and instead it feels like you are throwing rocks at enemy tanks, and it just doesn't really work, and it's frustrating. Now, don't get me wrong, the AGM-65G is still a pretty useful air-to-ground missile. I'm not saying it's not usable. I'm just saying for what it is on paper in War Thunder, it shouldn't be. It should be a lot better. And again, it's one of those missiles that, I understand why maybe the AGM-65 A or B is bad. But I don't understand why the G, or the E, or even the D are this way. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you guys think the AGM-65 Maverick needs a major rework? Do you guys think it's good, bad? What are your thoughts? And honestly, I really just want genuine thoughts here, guys, because I'm kind of tired of people being like, oh, it's just a skill issue. It genuinely isn't. The Maverick can function, and it does function. You make do with what you have. But it's impossible to be like, oh, the Maverick is genuinely this bad. It isn't. Again, the B model, the A model, the early models, sure, absolutely. They're at such a low BR, and they're so effective. But things like the G and, the other models, they need to be better. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. Please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.